Yeah, I mean, these little things that pass you by unless you understand them. To most people, this is just a fairy story. It's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. But what is Snow White? Snow White, I think, excuse me, is the Snow White moon, who is followed by the seven planets across the ecliptic. So the seven dwarfs are the seven planets following Snow White moon across the ecliptic. It's a story of the cosmos. And the Wicked Witch is who was outshone by the Snow White moon was the Milky Way. And in the which way around shall I do this? This is the Milky Way. Here it is.
Right.
In the night sky. We don't see it today because unfortunately we got too many lights around, so we don't get to see it. But if you're out in the desert in Australia, that's exactly what it looks like, you know. So it's quite prominent in the sky. Right. And what is that in Egyptian theology? And again, I don't think this has ever been mentioned before I wrote about it. But anyway, it's Nut. So Nut is the Milky Way. That's why she arches her body across the heavens. That's why she has arms and legs on either side, because if you look at the Milky Way, it splits into arms and legs either side. So the Milky Way is Nut. And the Geb is the earth underneath.
That's Geb on the bottom, right. And so we have just the pharaohs, because remember, right next to the Great Pyramid, they excavated a very ancient ship that looks a lot like this.
Yes, they did. Yeah, the Giza bark. Yeah,
right next to the Great Pyramid was a hidden vault that had the ship.
Yeah, that's the bark. This is the Ark of Ra. So Ra had an ark as well.
I got it.
And he sailed across the cosmic seas. So instead of like Helios was driving his chariot across the skies, or Santa Claus is driving his sleigh across the skies, in Egypt they had a boat. And they sailed across the cosmic seas. So the heavens above were a big ocean. They always regarded it as being an ocean, the seas in the heavens above. And so, yeah, they sailed a boat across these cosmic seas. And that's why when we get Aphrodite, Aphrodite is, of course, Venus, who is Isis, of course, the Egyptian Isis. But Aphrodite has a very strange name, which people don't seem to be able to translate. And I've not seen this translation anywhere else before. But Aphrodite means she was born in the foam of the sea. And so, excuse me. And so they're thinking of Aphrodite as being linked with seashores, which is why you see that very famous painting of Aphrodite in a seashell on the seashore, because she was born in the foam of the sea. But of course, the sea is the cosmos above. It's not our earthly sea. And so what is the foam in the sea above? Well, it's the Milky Way, of course. So Aphrodite, Venus, was born in the Milky Way above. So that's what it's talking about. But if we go back to the story of Snow White, the Wicked Witch gives her a corset and puts it on her and pulls it tighter and tighter, so she gets thinner and thinner and thinner, which is, of course, exactly what the moon does as the moon approaches the sun.
Yes, I see the connection now.
It becomes a crescent moon. And then, of course, the moon meets the sun prince. So the moon dies because it gets tighter and tighter until she dies, and the moon dies as well. The moon becomes the new moon. It's a dead moon. You can't see it. But then the dead moon kisses the sun, and here is an image of the moon kissing the sun, just as Snow White is kissed by the sun prince. And just to finish this tale, of course, they get married. So this is the diamond ring of the eclipse. And remember, the eclipse only happens when the moon is dead, just as Snow White was dead. That's the only way you can get a solar eclipse like that. And of course,
that's profound.
Yeah, just as she died and she was kissed and she comes back to life, so the moon comes back to life after it is kissed by the sun prince. And so the moon comes back to life and gets bigger and fatter as if she is pregnant again. And that is the story of Snow White. It's a story of the cosmos. The cosmos gets into everything, but we've forgotten our astronomical tales, our mythology from the past.